A day in your life as a Brinks Mat Heist crew member. You haven't slept, not really. You've been lying in this cheap hotel room somewhere in West London for the past 6 hours, staring at the water-stained ceiling, watching the headlights from passing cars paint shifting patterns across the walls. Your heart has been hammering since midnight. This is it. Saturday, November 26th, 1983. The day that will either make you rich beyond imagination or send you to prison for the next 25 years. The alarm clock reads 3:47 a.m. You don't need it. You've been running through every detail, every step, every possible variable. The plan has been months in the making. Brian the Colonel Robinson, 40 years old, veteran armed robber, has been orchestrating this with military precision. And then there's Mickey McAvoy, 30 years old, already notorious in South London for his ruthlessness. They call him the Nutter. Between the two of them, they've assembled a crew of 6. You're one of them. You swing your legs out of bed, black trousers, dark work jacket, steel-toed boots. Nothing memorable. You dress like a warehouse worker heading to an early shift at Heathrow because that's exactly what you need to look like. In the bathroom mirror, fluorescent light flickering, you barely recognize yourself. When did the line between desperate and criminal disappear? But you push the thought away. You think about the target. Unit 7, Brinks Mat Warehouse, Heathrow International Trading Estate, a joint venture between the American security company Brinks and the British firm MAT Transport. And you think about the prize. Approximately £3 million in foreign currency. Spanish pesetas, specifically. That's what Anthony Black told Robinson. Black, the 26-year-old Brinks Mat security guard who happens to be dating Brian Robinson's sister, the inside man, the key to everything. You're cut from £3 million. Maybe £500,000. Maybe more. Enough to disappear. Enough to never look back. You check your watch. 4:15 a.m. Time to move. The van is parked in a quiet industrial area near Heathrow Airport. When you arrive, the others are already there. 6 armed men in total, though some of you are carrying handguns you hope you'll never have to use. Brian Robinson is calm, smoking a cigarette, his breath misting in the cold November air. At 40, he's done time before, knows the risks, knows the game. Next to him is Mickey McAvoy, younger, hungrier, with a reputation for violence that precedes him. He's fidgeting, cracking his knuckles repeatedly. The sound sets your teeth on edge. Everyone clear on the timeline, Fumprey? Robinson asks, voice low and controlled. You all nod. Anthony Black starts his shift at 6:30 a.m. He'll let us in at exactly 6:40. The vault codes, he's got them. There are 2 other security guards on duty, Robin Risley and Michael Scouse. They don't know anything. They're civilians. We control them quickly, get the codes, get the cash, and we're out by 7:15 maximum. The next security shift arrives at 8 a.m. That gives us plenty of buffer. Someone asks about the guards. We intimidate them, Robinson says flatly. Petrol? Rope? Threats? But nobody gets hurt if they cooperate. This is about money, not violence. You've brought a large canister of petrol. The plan is to pour it on the guards, threaten to light them on fire unless they give up the vault combination. It makes you sick to think about it, but Robinson insists it's necessary. Fear is a tool. The guards need to believe you're capable of anything. The equipment is checked. Black balaclavas, rope, handguns, the petrol canister, a sports bag to carry the cash. 5:30, Robinson announces. We move in 60 minutes. You climb into the back of the van. The next hour is the longest of your life. Your mind races through scenarios. What if Black doesn't show? What if the vault codes are wrong? What if the police are already waiting? But it's too late for second thoughts. You're committed. The Heathrow International Trading Estate is a sprawling complex of warehouses and freight facilities near Britain's busiest airport. The Brinks Mat Warehouse, Unit 7, looks like any other structure here. Unremarkable, anonymous. That's exactly why it's perfect for storing valuables. He parks 2 streets away from Unit 7, tucked beside a loading dock. Masks on. The balaclava pulls tight over your face. Through the eye holes, the world narrows. Your breath is hot and rapid against the fabric. Your hands are shaking. 6 armed men exit the van and move toward the warehouse. It's 6:35 a.m., 5 minutes early. You reach the side entrance of Unit 7, a heavy steel door. This is it. This is where Anthony Black either delivers or the entire operation collapses. Robinson checks his watch. 6:38 a.m. You wait. 6:39 a.m. Nothing. Your pulse is screaming in your ears. Click. The door opens. A pale young man in a Brinks Mat security uniform looks out, his face tight with fear. Anthony Black. "Jesus Christ," he whispers. "I didn't think—" "Inside, now," Robinson commands. And just like that, you're in. The interior of the warehouse is massive. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead, casting everything in harsh yellow light. Anthony Black is trembling so badly you can see it. The other guards, Robin and Michael, they're in the break room. They don't know anything. "Please, you can't—" "Show us," Robinson interrupts. You follow Black through the warehouse. Your boots echo on the concrete floor. Everything feels surreal. The break room is at the back of the facility. Through a small window in the door, you can see 2 men in Brinks Mat uniforms. One, Robin Risley, is reading a newspaper. The other, Michael Scouse, is pouring tea from a thermos. Robinson doesn't hesitate. He throws open the door. "Nobody fucking move! Get on the ground! Now!" The chaos is instant. Risley jumps up, knocking over his chair. Scouse drops the thermos, hot tea splashing across the floor. You move on autopilot, pulling rope from the bag, binding Risley's wrists behind his back. His body is rigid with fear. Then Robinson does the thing you've been dreading. He unscrews the petrol canister and begins pouring it on the floor around the guards. The smell is overwhelming. Sharp, chemical, suffocating. He pours it on their uniforms. The guards are screaming now, begging, crying. "Where's the vault?" Robinson asks calmly. "B basement," Risley stammers. "Through the main floor. Stairs at the back." "Access codes?" 635-801, Scouse blurts out, his voice cracking. "Please don't light it. Please. I have kids. You feel sick. These are just working men, security guards earning £150 a week, trying to support families. And here you are, threatening to burn them alive for money. But you don't stop. You can't stop." "Anyone else in the building?" Robinson demands. "No, just us. Just the 3 of us. Please." Robinson assigns 2 crew members to watch the guards. "Keep them here. Keep them quiet. We'll be back." Then he looks at you, McAvoy, and the others. "Let's go get our money." The vault is in the basement, behind a reinforced steel door with an electronic keypad. The code Scouse gave up, 635-801, works on the first try. The lock disengages with a heavy mechanical thunk that reverberates through your chest. Robinson pulls the door open, and everything changes. You were expecting cash, pallets of Spanish pesetas. What you see instead stops you cold. The vault is floor to ceiling, filled with cardboard boxes. 76 boxes to be exact. And inside those boxes, gold bars. Hundreds of them. Thousands, stacked like bricks, each one stamped with official refiner marks and serial numbers. The overhead lights make them glow with an almost supernatural brilliance. Holy Mother of God! McAvoy breathes. Robinson is frozen, completely still. For the first time since you've known him, he looks genuinely shocked. Anthony Black is standing behind you and his voice comes out in a strangled whisper. "This isn't supposed to be here. This should be in the high security vault. This is... Oh, Christ, we're all going to prison. We're all dead." "Shut up," Robinson snaps, but there's no force behind it. He's staring at the gold like he's seeing a ghost. You step closer. Your hand reaches out, you can't help it, and picks up one of the bars. It's cold, heavy, incredibly heavy. The bar must weigh 13 kilograms, about 28 pounds. Solid gold. Your arms shake from the weight. There's a manifest on the wall. Robinson tears it down, scanning it quickly. His lips move as he reads. 6,800 gold bars, he says aloud. His voice strange and distant. 3 tons total, plus diamonds, plus cash. Property of Johnson Matthey Bankers Limited. He looks up, and his face is pale. This isn't £3 million. This is 26 million, someone says. Maybe more. The number hangs in the air like a physical thing. £26 million. £26 million. In 1983, that's equivalent to roughly £81 million in today's money. Based on current gold prices, it would be worth over £290 million. You're holding it in your hands. For a long moment, nobody moves. Nobody speaks. But then reality crashes down. We can't move this, you say, your voice muffled by the balaclava. There's too much. 3 tons? That's the weight of a car. We'd need a lorry. There's a forklift upstairs, McAvoy interrupts. I saw it. We can use it to load the van. The van can't carry 3 tons, you protest. Then we take what we can, Robinson says. His mind is working now, processing, adapting. We've got, he checks his watch, 77 minutes before the next security shift. We load as much as physically possible into the van and we leave the rest. Leave it? And just like that, you're running back upstairs. The extraction, 7:05 a.m. to 8:15 a.m. The forklift is a small electric model used for moving pallets around the warehouse. McAvoy climbs onto it, figures out the controls, and fires it up. The engine whines to life. You and the others start grabbing boxes of gold bars from the vault, loading them onto pallets. Each box contains multiple bars. Each bar weighs 28 pounds. Your back screams. Your shoulders burn. Sweat pours down your face inside the balaclava, but you don't stop. This is 26 million pounds. This is freedom. This is everything. McAvoy makes trip. After trip with the forklift, from the basement vault to the loading dock where the van is waiting. Back and forth. Back and forth. The mechanical whine of the electric motor becomes a soundtrack to your desperation. The van fills quickly. Gold boxes stacked on the floor. More boxes on top. The vehicle's suspension groans under the weight. It won't fit, you gasp. We're overweight already. The van's going to struggle. We take what we have. At 7:50 a.m., Robinson makes the call. That's it. We're out of time. Everyone in the van, now. You take one last look at the basement vault. Robinson leans down to Robin Risley. If you're smart, you'll wait 10 minutes before calling anyone, he says quietly. Give us a head start, and nobody gets hurt. You understand? Risley nods frantically, tears streaming down his face. Merry Christmas, one of your crew says as you leave. Then you're out, piling into the van. The engine roars to life. The vehicle lurches forward, groaning under the weight of approximately half a ton of gold, plus diamonds, plus cash. Robinson drives carefully. The last thing you need is to get pulled over for a broken tail light or speeding. The van struggles with every bump, every turn. The suspension is shot. You can hear the gold boxes shifting in the back. You're headed to a warehouse somewhere in South London, a safe house arranged weeks ago. Somewhere to count, to divide, to figure out what the hell happens next. Every police car that passes makes your heart stop. Every traffic light feels like a potential trap. But nobody stops you. Nobody even looks twice at a battered work van crawling through Southwark. When you finally pull into the warehouse, a dilapidated building in Bermondsey, you almost collapse, with relief. Inside, you start unloading. It takes another 90 minutes. When everything is finally laid out on the concrete floor, you see the magnitude of what you've accomplished. Gold bars, stacked like firewood, diamonds in sealed cases, cash in bank-wrapped bundles. Robinson makes phone calls to people he knows, specialists. Within hours, men start arriving. Smelters, fences, money launderers, the criminal ecosystem activating. One of them, an older man with grey hair and a Birmingham accent, examines the gold bars carefully, checking serial numbers. This gold can't be sold as is, he explains. Every bar has a refiner's mark and a unique serial number. They're registered to Johnson Matthey bankers. The moment one of these touches the legitimate market, it'll light up like a Christmas tree. Police will be all over it. So what do we do? Robinson asks. Smelt it down. Melt the bars, mix the gold with copper and brass to change the composition, recast it into different forms, then push it back into circulation through legitimate channels. Jewelers, investment companies, scrap metal dealers. It'll take time, months, maybe years. You realise then that this isn't over. You've committed the crime of the century, but actually profiting from it. That's going to require patience, connections, and a network of criminals you don't even know yet. What's my cut? You ask Robinson. He looks at you. We're still calculating the total value, but based on what we got out, probably around 3/4 of a ton of gold, plus the diamonds and cash, you're looking at £3 to £4 million, maybe more once it's all laundered. £4 million. The number should make you ecstatic. It should make you euphoric, but all you feel is exhausted. Bone-deep, soul-crushing exhaustion and fear. Because now comes the hard part, not getting caught. When do I get it, you ask? When it's safe, Robinson says. When the gold's been cleaned, when the heat dies down. Could be 6 months, could be 2 years. You lay low, you don't spend money, you don't change your lifestyle, you wait, you nod. What else can you do? It takes less than a week for everything to fall apart. Anthony Black, the inside man, cracks within 48 hours of questioning. He was late to work on the morning of November 26th, which immediately made him a suspect. When Scotland Yard's flying squad, led by Commander Frank Cater, starts investigating, they connect him to Brian Robinson through his relationship with Robinson's sister. Black confesses, gives up names. Robinson, McAvoy, others. Robinson and McAvoy don't exactly help themselves by laying low. Within weeks of the heist, both men move from humble South London council houses to grand estates in Kent, paying cash. Rumours circulate that McAvoy bought 2 Rottweiler dogs to guard his new mansion and named them Brinks and Mat. The arrests come in December 1983. In December 1984, at the Old Bailey, Brian Robinson and Michael McAvoy are sentenced to 25 years imprisonment for armed robbery. Anthony Black receives 6 years for aiding and abetting. But the gold is gone. It's being laundered through a network you barely understand. Kenneth Noy, a notorious crime boss, becomes involved along with John Palmer, owner of a gold-dealing company called Scadlin Limited near Bristol. Palmer has access to a smelting furnace. He melts down the gold bars, mixes them with copper and brass to change the composition, then gets the new gold officially hallmarked by the Sheffield Assay Office. Nobody suspects it's from Brinks Mat. Approximately £13 million worth of gold is disposed of this way over the next 2 years, but the operation draws attention. Large cash withdrawals from Bristol banks, £3 million from a single branch, alert the Bank of England. Surveillance begins. In January 1985, during a flying squad undercover operation, Detective Constable John Fordham is discovered hiding in the grounds of Kenneth Noy's Kent mansion. Noy stabs him to death. At trial, Noy is acquitted of murder on grounds of self-defence, but police find 11 gold bars worth £100,000 on his property. In 1986, Kenneth Noy is convicted of conspiracy to handle the Brinks Mat gold. He's fined £500,000 plus £200,000 costs and sentenced to 14 years in prison. He serves 7 years before being released in 1994. He'll later be convicted again, this time for a road rage murder on the M25 in 1996, and sentenced to life imprisonment. He's released on parole in 2019. Others in the laundering network are convicted. Garth Chappell gets 10 years, Brian Reeder gets 8 years, Michael Relton gets 12 years in July 1988. But most of the gold is never recovered. Lloyd's of London makes a record insurance payout of £26 million to Johnson Matthey bankers. By 1995, through asset seizures and legal action, insurers have recovered approximately £16 million, but that still leaves £10 million unaccounted for. In January 1995, the High Court orders Michael McAvoy to pay £27,488,299, the entire sum stolen with interest. He obviously can't pay it. Anthony Black, despite being acquitted of robbery itself, is ordered to repay £26 million plus £2.2 million in compensation. And then the deaths begin. They call it the curse of Brinks Mat. Starting in 1990, people connected to the heist start dying, one by one, shot, stabbed, murdered in ways that send a message to the criminal underworld. The gold is cursed. Touch it and you die. April 23, 1990. Charlie Wilson, former member of the Great Train Robbery Gang, is shot dead at his villa in Marbella, Spain. Wilson had been engaged to launder some of the Brinks Mat proceeds, but lost investors £3 million in a failed drug deal. Someone wanted their money back. 1990. Nick Whiting, an old school friend of Kenneth Noy, who was questioned about laundering, is found dead, shot twice and stabbed 9 times. His body is dumped in Essex. January 1993. Donald Urquhart, one of the money launderers, is shot dead on Marylebone High Street in central London in broad daylight. September 1996. Keith Headley, a suspected money launderer and close friend of Noy's since the 1970s, is shot dead while holidaying on his yacht in Corfu. 3 men approach the yacht and execute him. Nobody is ever charged. March 9th, 1998. Gilbert Winter, a jeweller and associate of the Adams crime family, disappears from his home. His body is never found. Solly Nahome, a Hatton Garden jeweller who emigrated from Burma in 1961, is shot 4 times outside his home in Finchley, North London. John Bristow, a builder, whose only crime was knowing one of the robbers, is shot and dumped in chains in the sea near Sheerness, Kent. 2001. Brian Perry, dead by 2 gunmen as he walks toward his office in South London. 2015. John Palmer, nicknamed Goldfinger, is shot 6 times in the chest in the garden of his Essex home. Nobody has ever been charged. By most counts, over 20 people connected to the Brinks Mat robbery have been murdered. George Francis, one of the gang members, reportedly said before his own death, "It's a curse because everyone connected to Brinks Mat stands to get topped sooner or later." Michael McAvoy was also released in 2000. He moved to Spain and died from cancer in January 2023 at the age of 71. Most of the gold has never been recovered. In 1996, about half of the smelted and recast gold was thought to have found its way back into the legitimate gold market. According to experts and the BBC, anyone wearing gold jewellery bought in the United Kingdom after 1983 is probably wearing Brinks Mat. The rest? Buried. Hidden. Sitting in safety deposit boxes in foreign countries. Melted down and incorporated into buildings, cars, electronics. Your story ends in ambiguity. Maybe you were one of the 4 robbers never convicted. Maybe you got your cut, laundered it carefully over a decade, and now live quietly somewhere warm. Maybe you're dead, another casualty of the curse. Or maybe you're still looking over your shoulder decades later, wondering when the knock on the door will finally come.